Okay, so I want to ask you, Steph, are you still going salsa dancing, or did you stop?
No, too right I am. Too right I am. I got through cancer, a rare form of cancer, chemo, knocked me out for about 3 years.
Yeah.
Year of treatment and then a couple of years of getting over it. Plus, fell over 3 times, broke my knees 3 times. Am I still dancing? Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. You're just amazing. Very special person, and you've got such an amazing, interesting, colourful, flavourful life story. And I'm just so curious, and I think there are other people out there that might resonate with you, you know? And so can we start off by saying, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you now, Stephanie?
I'm now, January the 1st, I was 77.
Stop it! Never!
I know. I never used to say, if people asked, I used to say, well, that doesn't define me. It's just a number.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. So on that note, Steph, let's take us back. Take us back to what it was like. Where did you grow up? Where were you raised? What was it like being a young girl?
Well, obviously, I was born in 1947, so not long after the war, when obviously there was lots of housing issues, rationing. I remember going to a shop. That's probably one of my earliest memories of being a tiny child and going with my mum and going into the shop, and she's handing over this book and getting stamped. So you was only allowed so many things, and you never used to have big bowls of fruit on the table, which you can have now. So so that was kind of my first experience. And obviously there was a housing shortage. So when I was born, so when I was born,
I was going to say, what part?
Oh, where I live?
You was brought up, what part of
England? In Barking, Essex, which it used to be Barking, Essex, but now it's Greater London, isn't it, really? East London. So yes, but at that time, obviously, as I say, I was born into where my mum and dad lived in a top of a house, like a few rooms, and my sister, and there's about 16, 17 months between us. My dad was a merchant seaman before the war and through the war. And I'll come on to a bit where he always liked traveling. He always used to talk about traveling and different parts of the world, and I think that's probably where it came from, my interest. But anyway, then we had to get somewhere else to live, and new estates were being built up. In the meantime, we lived in what was army barracks, literally wooden huts in Thames Road in Barking. And I remember playing out on, really, it was like an adventure playground, but actually it was a dump. But we loved it. We used to play. So it was a temporary place, but I was there for quite a few years. But my two aunties were there. So their children, we were cousins. We were all brought up as one family. So it's like we had 3 mums, each of us, and lots of cousins, but they were like brothers and sisters. So that's where it was a nice close-knit family. And we had good, wholesome food. But it's probably what's quite trendy now, isn't it? What they call like peasant food. But it was, So I most sort of like poorer people of the community. I mean, we weren't destitute, but obviously it was the times. But we was always well fed. My dad was a cook in the merchant seaman, so he was cooking for us as well as my mum. They were both working parents. anyway, we saw Thamesview Estate being built. So then we moved to this new house, which was quite exciting. But I have to say, a moment of history, just before we moved from the huts, as they were known, my dad built it into a really nice livable home where it was like rafters. He put a false ceiling in, and it was really nice and cozy, actually. But one night, my dad was working away as a parquet floor layer when he came off the Navy. So he was away, just my mum and me and my sister Judith. And there was a knock on the door, policeman in 1953. You know, the flood that came over the and killed quite a few people, were lost in the floods. And the policeman knocked and said we probably have to evacuate, which in the end we didn't. But that was a moment, you know, a historical moment, really, when many people lost their lives, sadly. But so then we moved to Thamesview. So I was brought up around people that all looked the same as me. I didn't see any diversity, any ethnicity. And I say, from my dad, my travel bug came, I think, as well as me and my mum. I owe it to David Attenborough, because we used to watch his little tiny TV. I didn't have a TV till I was must have been about 9 or 10, something like that. And we used to watch David Attenborough, and he'd be travelling all these wonderful, amazing places. I thought, wow, it instilled into me a desire to seek out the world beyond Thamesview and all the people that looked the same. And my mum was a very forward-thinking woman, well before her time, plus my 2 aunties, her sisters. So we had this interest in others, you know, who was on the planet with. Don't get me wrong, I was very homely as well. I loved being with my family, but there was this other pull, that was taking me out. So as soon as I was a very shy girl, I'm very, very shy. But once I went to work, my first job was in the Trade Union Congress in Great Russell Street, yes. George Woodcock, he was the General Secretary, and Vic Feather was the Deputy Trade Union Secretary. I've still got my letter inviting me to be a junior shorthand typist.
Oh, you were a shorthand typist?
Yes, I started off as a shorthand typist because as I left school, the so-called careers officer said, yes, and what are you going to do, factory or shop? And I said, my mum's paid for me to go and learn shorthand and typing. And he just laughed. But I did that, and I travelled into London. So that gave me an adventure.
Out of Dagenham to London,
Dagenham, Barking, all that area. So I was mixing with lots of different people. In my lunch hour, walking along Oxford Street, Carnaby Street. Going down Carnaby Street, getting Mary Quant clothes, having a Vidal Sassoon haircut.
Did you wear those winkle pickers? You know, they're really kind of...
No, that was before. That was my cousin Jill, bless her. She had winkle pickers. They were the people before mods. I was a mod.
Oh, you was a mod?
Yes.
For people out there who don't know what a mod is, just quickly explain what a mod dressed like, or the...
well, it was to my idea, very stylish.
And
you wore, you know, like a short bob, and it was up at the back, and like then long bits here
at the front,
a block fringe, a blunt cut, because Vidal Sassoon was the stylist of his time, because he changed hairstyles. Up till then, all your clothes, you looked like a miniature version of your mum. So I used to do, I think they're popular now, but back in the day, it was a shop. It wasn't a charity shop, it was sort of like seconds. and I
Yeah.
used to go in there and pick different clothes and put them together myself. I went to a man's tailor's, and I had made a suit, say like the 40s, the women in the 40s, a fitted suit in green pinstripe, dark green pinstripe.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, single-breasted, come in at the back, one vent at the back, and a pencil skirt below your knee.
But you always loved your fashion, didn't
Style.
You always liked clothes and putting stuff together.
Yes.
Yeah. So you worked down Carnaby Street.
I worked in the West End, and then I went from earning 5 guineas a week, £5, 5 shillings, and then I got a job in a solicitor's called Stanley Levine Solicitors. He was the solicitor who owned it, and it was you could see it in a film, really. It was like up rickety stairs, all musty, in this little room, and then his room was off that. There was Mr. Clark, he was the legal advisor. There was the girl on the telephones, when you used to put them in the switchboard.
Yeah.
And me, the typist. And you could never make a mistake. There was no Tipex. It was the one like that. Ding! And being a legal document, you can't, there's no sort of spell check and all that. No. You had to be accurate.
But you didn't stay in that kind of office work. What made you leave that type of office environment?
Right. Well, a few changes in my life. I'm just going to tell you another history point, though, before I leave the solicitors.
Yeah, go on.
One day I was in the solicitors and there was a knock. Somebody had come up the rickety staircase, knock on the door. This was in the 60s.
Yeah.
Or about 63, 64, I'm not quite sure of the time. You could look it up. And opened the door. In came a woman with a headscarf on like this, and then tied round the back.
Yeah.
Sunglasses. And a wisp of blonde hair under the scarf. She said, I have an appointment to see Mr. Levine. I said, yes, and your name? She said, Mandy Rice Davis.
We know that. I know that name.
Affair, Christine Keeler, Profumo Affair.
Yes, yeah.
Mandy Rice Davis.
Yes. Scandal. That scandalous. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I took for a moment, Miss Davis, and took her in. Yeah. So that was that. So what changed? Well, I had the travel bug. I wanted to travel. So my first experience was going to Belgium with my cousin, my auntie. We went to Belgium on the ferry. So that got me going. I went to Spain with a girlfriend. We went to Spain for your package 2 weeks in Lloret de Mar.
Yeah.
I thought, I want more of this. I want to go further afield. I was interested in Israel. I worked with a Jewish girl. I'd seen, how old was I? 18. Yeah, and I'd worked with a Jewish girl. She was talking about Israel, etc. So it inspired me. So me and my cousin Jill, we decided to go on holiday to Israel. Yeah. So when we first said it, people would say, what are you going there for? It's like a pile of sand. So remember, I'd been jumping on the Fenchurch Street train in high heels, no trousers or flats in those days. So, stockings. Well, when the hot pants and little mini skirts came in, tights came in.
Yeah.
Right, so that was a benefit to me because I hated stockings. Anyway, so so that's it. I used to fully clothed, full makeup on, eyeliner, and was doing eyeliner and flick ups in the 60s. Yeah. And full makeup, eyelashes, top and bottom.
Yeah.
Now gone on holiday, loved Israel. Me and Jill went all over. We went to Masada, climbed Masada up the snake path, got to the top where the Jews were hounded and killed at the top. They all killed each other so they wouldn't be caught as slaves, etc. That's a big story there. You could read up on that.
I'm sorry, Steph, how old was you when you went to Israel?
I think I was like 18, 19.
Wow, that's young.
Yeah.
And how long did you stay for?
Well, that first of all, it was a holiday.
Yeah.
We went for a holiday, but we travelled all over. And remember, there was no phone, no mobiles, none of this.
Yeah.
So once you went, there was no talking to you until you got home, really. So excuse me. So me and Jill travelled all over, but we wanted to go to a kibbutz. We wanted to stay, but we asked and they said no, we couldn't stay. So we came home, worked hard for 6 months, and then applied to the Jewish agency to go to a kibbutz. But we wanted to travel out there, so we went from Barking to France on the ferry. There wasn't the tunnel, so we went on the ferry, got the ship the other side of France, Marseille. Off we went.
Wow.
And we travelled by Zimline, which it doesn't do sort of cruises and anything like that now. I don't think. I might do cargo, I'm not sure, but Zimline. And off we went, stopping in Italy, Greece. So we've seen all these places of interest on the ship with lots of interesting people. And then Cyprus, and then as we approached, as dawn was coming, the sun was coming up, and the sun was shining on the Baha'i temple, which is a dome of gold in Haifa. It was like, oh my God, it was amazing. It was the most magical moment.
Wow.
So yes, and we'd gone through the Corinth Canal, which is a man-made canal, and it looks like you could touch each side. So yeah, so we went there. I suppose I have to shorten all this because otherwise I'll go on and on.
That'll be a different podcast altogether. Your trips. So you stayed in Israel and you travelled a lot, and then you came back home, and then you were married.
Well, me and Jill went into the kibbutz after having adventures in town first, and then we went into the kibbutz, which was in the north of Israel, and loved it so much because going from like all the eyelashes, the makeup, to like just like a bikini top and shorts, working in a banana plantation, flicking away with a knife scorpions, and going out on the tractor at 3:30 in the morning for 8 hours, coming back for some breakfast, and all living in a community. Like, it was pure socialism, which is what I liked. Everybody was equal. I'm talking then. Everybody was equal. The children were in a children's house being looked after. It might be you looking after them. Or I liked that idea. It was, and everybody worked on the land. It was being out on the land and just sitting around. And I was young. It was lovely. So, anyway, and Jill went home and I stayed out there because I'd met my son's father. So we stayed there and we went around, travelled around, and then he came home. He'd got a ticket to come home because he worked out there before, and he'd got a ticket anyway to come home. So I had no money to get home. So the kibbutz gave me some food. They managed to sort of scrape together some money. We went and worked and got some money, and I got on a rusty old Greek ship in the hold. All I could afford was a seat, an aircraft seat in the hold, and I came back that way. And we hit a storm, but that was the night I slept and slept. And the next morning, these Irish girls went, wasn't it awful? We nearly had to jump ship and all that. And I went, thanks. I was still in the hold.
Wow.
So that was quite an experience. Anyway, so I travelled home on my own from Israel. And yeah, and then what happened then? Yes, and then me and the boy's dad, we got married. We decided we wanted to emigrate to Israel. We loved it, and yeah, did all the necessary procedures. Wanted to live on a moshav. We went back. I had 2 sons there. I was there during the Yom Kippur War, which was very frightening, but and also another experience in my life.
Yeah.
So and then not yeah, personal things happened. My mum passed away, different yeah, personal issues. And I was now a single parent with 2 sons in a tower block flat. I had to work. I went back doing office work for a while, and then to accommodate the children, I decided to work in a play group.
Yeah.
I'd never been told that I had any sort of like intelligence, but I decided to do like a play group course. Found I did have a brain, and continued. Then moving on further years, I met up with a childhood friend. We eventually got married. We had 2 beautiful daughters. So I have 4 children now. And I went to study. I could have gone back to doing secretarial work, but I decided childcare. I really liked working with children, and it would enable me to be at home with my own children. So which is I did, and I passed with what they call it. I can't think. Yeah, but what did you not that A-star plus is like
distinction. Is it distinction?
That's
distinction.
the word.
Yes.
That's the word. Yes. So yes, so I went on. I worked in a school for 13 years in the nursery class, welcoming the children in. So you're there at the base, the foundation of these wonderful children, and they're not all the same. No, every child is an individual, and seeing these little flowers growing and blossoming, it was wonderful. And seeing the world through a child's eyes again is something I recommend. So where do you want me to go now?
Oh, where I want you to go now is what led you. Now we understand a little bit of your kind of your backstory, really adventurous. What led you to salsa? Like, you know, what was a run up to that? You were single at this point.
Yeah, single, working, just paying the mortgage, feeding the children. The boys were older, etc. We all helped each other, and I was just at home. I didn't go anywhere. I think I did like a daytime class when they were at school doing. I think I did Spanish at one point, pottery, that sort of thing. But I didn't go out in the evening. But
why not?
Because I was just focused on bringing my children up. Plus, I didn't really want, my eyes were down. If anybody had come up and chatted me up, I wouldn't have known it. I wouldn't have recognised it because I was focused. I was just focused on bringing my children up. That's all. That's all I could do. And do the best I could for them. I didn't have money. I didn't have any extra money. So, but going back to when I was a child, very painfully shy, If there was music, I'd be dancing. I loved music. I loved dancing. Yeah. So one day, my beautiful, wonderful, wonderful friend Louise knocked on my door and said, Steph, there is Salsa in Beckton in a school hall. So my stomach was going over, oh God, because I'd been out of social scenes, meeting people.
Yeah.
My confidence had gone, if you like. My self-esteem had gone down.
Yeah.
So trying to get it back up was very hard.
Yeah.
So when Louise, yourself, said this to me, I thought, oh, yeah, I can go with Louise. All my confidence of driving, as we've laughed about many times, I'd say, well, I don't know, where is it? One straight road. Why
One
can't
straight
one
road.
straight road? One straight road. And I think, well, it isn't. It isn't always one straight road. What about the bit at the end where you go round or where you park? So all these worries would stop me, would hold me back from going out there and meeting people, etc. But I'd conditioned myself to, this is what I'm doing now. This is all I do. Going to bed at 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Get up to go to work, to see the kids. So anyway, Louise, you opened the door for me. So we went together, didn't we, to McRae. Do you remember his name? McRae. And in the school hall. And it was just like a couple of hours in the evening, so that was fine. My eldest son looked after the children, and then the next son. So Gabby looked after them first, and Renee did. Looked after Cassie and Lane, my children. And so that was fine. I loved it. But then when McRae said, now you're going to partner up, I thought, oh my God. I thought, I'm sure they can see my heart pumping from under my top, because you know, I had no connection with men, and only my cousins. So it was a really big thing for me. But I thought, what's the alternative? Yes, carry on. I met a girl there, Nina. Yourself stopped for other reasons, but I thought to myself then, Louise, I thought, this is a crossroads for me. Do I go back now in my shell and hide away, getting up for work, doing the washing, all this, focusing just on that? Or do I open out and broaden? And I thought to myself, well, I will do it. It was a big effort for me. Because I'd been so closed down, I'd shut down, really.
You know what? Sorry, Steph, but that's so important, because I think there are so many people out there, for whatever reason, get kind of in a position of kind of, I'm not sure if it's safety, but it's just not moving in any direction, and kind of maybe wanting to, but you kind of get
it's
into
a fear.
It's a fear.
You don't want to get hurt. You haven't got your confidence. Because if your confidence has been eroded over quite a few years, you tend to believe it, you know, and you think, oh, this isn't for me. This is what I've got to do. I had to use all my energy just in the home and at work. I didn't have any energy or time for anything else, because I didn't know how I was going to combine it or do it well. So it was.
Yeah, but you stuck at it, didn't you?
I did.
Stuck at it.
Yes, I stuck at it. And
did you naturally like it, or were there times you wanted to give up, or did you like it all, you know, like from day one? I never knew that. Like,
I did like it from day one. Yeah, I did. But I had to fight through all my misgivings and especially when they said we're going to go to a club.
Blimey. Love.
I mean, obviously years ago I used to go out and come home at like God knows what hour in the morning on the night bus. Go to a club in Tottenham Court Road and get the last train home and then walk. I mean, my poor mum, she used to pretend she was in bed asleep, but I know, being a mum now myself, I know she obviously wasn't. And
How old was you when you started to learn salsa?
Oh, in my 50s.
Wow. And the thing is, you started learning salsa in your 50s and you ended up becoming the salsa queen. I mean, you were so good at it. And you drove all over, what, London, if not further afield, didn't you?
Well, exactly, Louise. This is what I was going to say. This is what it did for me. So, moving on quick from the clubs, and don't get me wrong, not because they said, oh, you can ask a man to dance in salsa, you can
Yeah.
go up and ask a man. Right.
Yeah.
Well, you can imagine how I felt. Oh, and if a man did ask me, I'd go, oh, I'm a beginner. I'm a beginner. And once I went to Brixton, yeah, in this club, and I was dancing with this man in the middle of the dance floor, and he went, what are you doing? And walked off and left me in the middle of the floor. So, so that I had to overcome that. So they're not all like, oh, everybody's wonderful. It's people. People are good, bad, ugly, aren't they?
About it, right? It's a little bit like feel the fear and do it anyway. But then also, you a situation where a man left you on the flipping dance floor and walked off. You had to go through that, I suppose, because that could have you could have gone either way. You could have thought, oh, this ain't for me, or you just thought, F it, you just kind of carried on, didn't you?
Yeah, it was a lot though. It was a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't now I've got the bug and I didn't have to have a partner. So in the end, I ended up going, oh, as you say, my confidence in driving, and I didn't have a sat nav. It was all just print. I used to at work print it out where I was going, and I made friends with my friend Margaret. Yeah. So me and Margaret used to go places. Sometimes me and Nina, but me and Mags were like a partnership as well. So we used to go off to Tottenham, White Hart Lane Park in the street, and it was like a role reverse with my children. They'd be going, where are you going? What time did you get up? It's quite funny. So like I was in my 50s and that was that. And also what it did, I thought, and this is you come into it again.
Yeah.
You said to me once, your friend goes off traveling on her own.
Yeah.
And my first reaction, which I get from people I tell myself now, they go, oh, and I did. I remember going, oh.
Yeah.
And then I reflected on what you said, and I thought to myself, well, you drive all over the place now.
Yeah.
You love dancing. I dance with men, and I have a wonderful time, and then just say bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I've got my interaction, and you could be any shape or size, any age, any job in salsa. But as I say, you know, there have been a couple of incidents that did knock me, but I have come back from it. But it's exercise, you're diverse, so many different people, so many different venues. And I thought, look, I do talk to myself a lot as well anyway. But I thought I can travel on my own. So I've travelled to Egypt on my own. I did scuba diving in the Maldives. I did a paddy course out in the middle of the Indian Ocean with a storm, and they couldn't find us. And then they did find us, thank God, as you could see. But the most amazing experiences, I've been to the Caribbean, St. Lucia. Oh, my favourite. So you can travel on your own. You can travel on your own. I've been to Europe on my own, Portugal on my own. It's so many different places, and it's liberating. So that's what I would say.
So okay. So here's my final question for you, Steph. If there's anybody out there listening to this and they've lost their confidence, they want to try something new, and there's a fear around that, what would you say to them?
Well, I'd sort of, I'd first of all, acceptance. I'd accept and acknowledge that that's how they're feeling. Because when I've said, oh, I'm not quite sure, is it, can you park there? Don't just, from your perspective, say it's only one straight road, because to me it isn't.
Yeah.
To listen to that person and try to support and encourage them. And if it's something that you enjoy, like dancing, so for me, it was dancing and meeting different people.
Yeah.
That was my thing.
Yeah.
So find your thing. It might be going to a class, might be learning a language, it might be like, I don't know, investing in whatever you find interesting. Whatever you find interesting and have a passion for.
Yeah.
Because for me, it was the dancing, but I had to get over that hurdle. You helped me over that hurdle. And I'll never forget our holiday. Remember our...
Well,
when, yeah, do you remember that?
yeah, I
In that
do.
little shop? And I never forget how you made me feel so special with sharing with me something that was extremely personal to you, Louise.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think
Sam, I have to say that you were what you were. I think the first friend that I told, we were in Goa and we sat on your bed. I think we were sitting on, I saw the white sheets and we sat on the bed and I said, Steph, there's something that I can't remember how I said it. There's something that I want to tell you. And I thought, so I can't tell anyone. It's a secret. And I said, Steph, I've got HIV. And he just hugged me and we cried together.
yeah.
But I just wanted to say thank you for that, Steph, because it was such a relief, you know? And I think that this is what I would say, actually. You know, you are so adventurous and you're so open-minded and you're so open to learning and seeing, you know, new things, that when I told you about HIV, you was open. You know, you didn't judge me. You didn't stigmatize me. You made me feel really kind of comfortable and safe to be able to say that. So thank you, Stephanie.
Oh, bless you, and thank you, Louise. Thank you.
I love you so much.
I love you very much. So much.
Okay, I'm gonna press stop now. Stay on the line, we'll have a chat.
Okay.
Okay.